This video just is a quick overview of the information that you can find on page 5 of your guided notes packet. It just reviews who the leaders of Congress are and some of their special responsibilities. So it's important to note that in the 118th Congress is beginning in January of 2023, that the Republicans have an advantage in the House. So that's a big deal because the majority party always selects from within its own members the Speaker of the House. So the Speaker of the House for the Republicans in this new Congress is going to be Kevin McCarthy, who is a longtime representative from California. So he is chosen by the majority party. It's significant because he's obviously second in line behind the vice president in order of presidential succession, and he's really like the public spokesperson for the Republicans in Congress, right? He's going to be Biden's number one critic, and he'll really be the face of the Republicans in the House of Reps. He's also significant because he assigns all the majority party members, the Republicans in this case, to their individual committee assignments, and we talked about the significance of that in a previous video. The Republicans also select a majority leader, who is Steve Scalise, who's from Louisiana, but to be honest, the majority leader in the House of Reps really is of little significance other than just having a cool title, because it's really, for all intents and purposes, the Speaker of the House that is the leader of the majority party. And then the majority party also selects what's called the majority whip. The whip is kind of like a funny named position, that the job of the whip is really to kind of keep regular members, like the other reps for the Republican Party, basically in touch with the party leadership, right? So in this case, it's Tom Emmer from Indiana. He's like the go-between between McCarthy and all the other Republican members. And one of the jobs of the whips is kind of like, as the name implies, kind of like the party enforcer. And the job of the whip is to try and keep all of the party members voting together as like one large block. So they are the majority leaders in the House of Reps, chosen by the majority party. And then the minority party, right, are the Democrats. They also choose their leaders. So the minority leader, the leader of the Democrats in the House of Reps, is Hakeem Jeffries from New York. He's significant because he is the first party leader to be an African American, either majority or minority leader ever in the House of Reps. And he's sort of like the public spokesperson on behalf of the Democrats. He's significant because he assigns all of the Democrats to their committee assignments. So that makes him significant. And the minority party also selects their whip, which in this case is Catherine Clark from Massachusetts. And again, just like the majority whip, her job is to keep the regular members, the other Democrats, basically in touch with like Jeffries, and is like the go-between between all the Democrats in the House and their leadership. In the Senate, the Democrats remain in control of the Senate. Obviously, the president of the Senate is really the vice president, who we know is Kamala Harris. This is one of the constitutional duties of the vice president, is to serve as the president of the Senate. That doesn't really mean that Harris is in the Senate all that often. Again, generally just in the case to break ties in terms of voting. But because Harris is otherwise occupied, a temporary president, the president pro temp, has to basically be chosen. So in this particular Congress, the president pro temp of the Senate, the temporary president, because the real president of the Senate, Harris, is not generally there, is Patty Murray, who is a senator from Washington. This is typically a ceremonial position that's given to the longest serving member of the majority party, and also third in line of presidential succession. So it goes VP, Speaker of the House, and then Patty Murray as the President pro temp of the Senate. So third in line of order of presidential succession. Murray, interestingly enough, is not the longest serving member of the Democrats in the Senate. That actually is Dianne Feinstein, who is a longtime senator from California, but she's in her upper 80s, and she actually declined the position. So it went to the next longest serving member, who was Patty Murray, a senator from Washington. So Murray is the president pro temp of the Senate, kind of running the Senate on a day-to-day basis since Harris is not there. The majority leader of the Senate is Chuck Schumer. So Schumer is the majority leader. he's significant because, again, he's the public spokesperson of the Democrats, the majority party in the Senate. And he's the person that appoints all of the Democratic senators to their committee positions. And there is also a majority whip, just like the role that they have in the House. The job of the whip, which is on the Democratic side, the majority whip in the Senate is Richard Durbin, a longtime senator from Illinois. Same thing. Job is to keep the other sort of like Democratic senators in touch with Schumer and what Schumer wants, and vice versa. And then the Republicans have to choose their leadership. They are the minority party in the Senate. So the minority leader is Mitch McConnell. You know the deal. McConnell and Schumer have been like long-time adversaries. They sort of very critical of one another. So again, he's the public spokesperson for the Republicans in the Senate, and his responsibility is like to assign committee assignments to the Republicans. And, you know, when press conferences are given, it's often going to be like McConnell. And again, McConnell is a very outspoken critic of President Biden because they're in opposite parties. So, again, really the public spokesperson for the Republicans in the Senate. They have a minority whip as well, which is John Thune from South Dakota. Same role as what the whips are in the other sort of portions of the video that we talked about. So again, these leaders are important because they ultimately are the people that choose what committees the regular sort of members of Congress are put on, which gives them significance, and they obviously get the most public exposure as well. So the leaders are a vital part of the lawmaking process for all the reasons that we mentioned in this video.